Welcome to the Cozza Lawcast, where life, business, and the law collide. And now, here's your host, attorney, and founder of the Cozza Law Group, Cozza.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cozza Lawcast. Today we're going to talk about something that's not really legal related, but it's for the business owner out there. And what I want to talk about is, what do you do when you start to lack motivation? Now, this is something we all face as entrepreneurs, as business owners. At a certain point in time, it is human nature. We will all lose a little bit of motivation. And I believe the reason for this is because as entrepreneurs, we run hot all the time, right? Our endeavor that we've taken on is 24/7, 365. We don't get to take weekends off. We don't get to take evenings off. When you own a business, it's all the time. You know, I find myself here, I'm recording this video in my office on a Sunday afternoon. So when you run hot all the time and you're working so hard, you're going to lose motivation at some point in time. And I'm especially seeing it now. You know, we're coming out of this pandemic, we're coming out of the winter months into spring. And I see a lot of people that I've worked with, or a lot of clients and friends of mine and colleagues and just people in general, that they're starting to spin their wheels. And I could see that the motivation's starting to slide because it's just, I don't know, maybe it's the time of year, maybe it's just the time we're in. And I started asking myself, well, what do we do when we start losing this motivation? Well, the first thing we have to do is, one, recognize it. This is the biggest, or the hardest thing for people to do, because we like to think, I especially, you know, as an entrepreneur, that I'm always motivated, that I'm always operating at a high intensity, but that's not the case. Like, I know there are certain days where my motivation fails, and I had to learn to recognize that. And that's the first step you have to do as an entrepreneur or a business owner. You have to really take that self-assessment, take a step back, and be able to recognize when you're losing motivation. Because if you can't recognize it, you're going to hit the wall and crash. I've done that in the past. I had a hard time recognizing when my motivation was running low, and I just kept trying to push through, and I'd hit the wall. Now, I understand myself. I understand certain days of the week or certain times of the month or times of the year where my motivation starts to slide in a different direction. So I had to recognize that. So that's the first step as an entrepreneur you need to do when you start lacking motivation. That's recognition. The second thing you have to do as an entrepreneur when you're losing motivation is give yourself permission to do so. You know, as entrepreneurs and business owners, we're so hard on ourselves. We push ourselves so hard. We believe that it's all on us. The weight of the world is on our shoulders. We have this responsibility to our clients, to our employees, to our family, to everyone around us. And when we start to lack this motivation, it gives us a sense of feeling inside like we can't do this. We have to find a way to keep pushing forward. But again, it's human nature to lose that motivation. So you have to give yourself permission to have that moment, to understand that you don't have to operate at 100 miles per hour all the time. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to cruise. It's okay to park the car and get out for a second. But as entrepreneurs, we struggle doing that. So that's what you have to do. So first, you got to recognize when you're losing motivation. And then two, you got to give yourself permission to have that moment. And now the third thing you really have to do, and this is, in my opinion, the most important, is to design a plan to get back on track. I believe it's very hard, you know, as a human being, an entrepreneur, a business owner, that once you recognize you're losing motivation and you let yourself have that moment to just snap back in place, it's very hard to just put your foot on the gas again. I myself know that when I start to lose that motivation and I figure out why it's happening, I have to actually plan to make adjustments. Something's going on in my life or in my business that's causing me to lack that motivation. It's causing me to get burnout. So what I do, and this really helps me move the needle forward, is I take a moment, maybe it's an hour or a whole day, and I just plan, really write down what I need to do to start moving things forward. Maybe it's changing course in my marketing. Maybe it's going after different clients. Maybe it's just operating a little bit differently. But I have to create that plan because that now gives me that step-by-step course of action I need to take to get back on track. It's very hard, I believe, now maybe you're different, but I believe it's very hard that when you start to lose motivation to really just figure it out and just move forward and just get back on track. You have to put a plan in place to get back on track because you came off the track for some reason. You have to figure out what that is and put the plan in place to get back on track. Now, this is something, again, I know all of you out there, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, you've probably struggled with. We all do it. It's okay. And I wanted to make this video to really give you some guidance or some practical advice as to what to do when you feel this. So first, like I said, you got to recognize it. Recognize when you're losing that motivation. And two, give yourself the permission to do so. It's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. You own the business. You're the entrepreneur. Give yourself permission to have that momentary lack of motivation. It's okay. And then third, you've got to create the plan to get back on track. Don't just wing it. Don't just assume that I'm going to take a day off and I'll be back tomorrow. Put a plan in place. Figure out what that next thing is you need to do to right the ship, to get the train back on the track. If you follow these three things, these three pieces of advice, when you start to feel that motivation start to wane a little bit, I guarantee you will get back on track a lot quicker. You're going to have the moments where you lose it, and that's okay. You're going to need breaks. You're going to need to rest. You're going to have days where you just don't feel like doing anything, and that's okay. But the whole point of this is to get back on track as quickly as possible. If you are an entrepreneur and own a business, your sole goal is continual growth. And the longer you stay off the track, the harder it is to get back on track. So remember, recognize when the motivation is lacking. Give yourself permission to have that moment, but create the plan to get back on track. That's all I have for you. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know it wasn't legal in nature, but I think it's something important to talk about, and I think a lot of you entrepreneurs out there need to hear it. Maybe I just needed to hear it or hear myself say it. That's why I made the video. So hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't done so, check out our website. I'll put the link down here. It's just cozzalaw.com. If you haven't done so either, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/cozzalaw. Lastly, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, I would love it if you did. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when we post our new videos, which come out every week, usually on Sunday evenings. Again, thank you all so much for watching and all the support, and I will see you on the next video.
Thanks for listening to the Cozza Lawcast, where life, business, and the law collide. To find out more about the Cozza Law Group, check out www.cozzalaw.com.